The man woke up in the freezing snow at 40 below. As if heaven had answered his prayer, a plump seal appeared right in front of him. But while chasing the seal, Givens slipped into an ice hole, and the -40-degree water instantly froze his right foot. He didn't have time to worry about the pain. He adjusted his stance and finally managed to strike the seal. He quickly cut open the seal's belly and soaked strips of cloth in the steaming fat to wrap his frostbitten foot with care. When the treatment was done, only one thought filled his mind: go home. Even if it meant crossing 4,000 kilometers of Arctic ice at 40 below, he would not hesitate. Givens counted his steps, stopping every 3,000 to mark the number with a bullet, switching hands each time in an endless cycle. The cold was brutal, but worse than that was the crushing loneliness under the endless sheets of ice. He kept talking to himself, just to keep from going insane. But after half a year, all he saw was the same endless white, a suffocating emptiness that nearly broke him. Just when he was about to lose his mind, something incredible appeared. A lone tree standing tall on the ice. Givens collapsed to the ground, hardly believing it was real. Overjoyed, he clung to the symbol of life, knowing it meant he was close to leaving the Arctic behind. Sure enough, he soon saw a forest. That night, he lit a fire, and the long-lost warmth lulled him into deep sleep. But Givens was so exhausted that he didn't even notice two strangers approaching. He jolted awake and drew his pistol, but the men weren't hostile. They had only been drawn by the firelight. One of the prospectors kindly warned him of an incoming blizzard and invited him to take shelter, but Givens refused without hesitation. 3 years in captivity had taught him never to trust anyone so easily. The next morning, the storm hit as predicted. Unable to find shelter, Givens stumbled blindly through the forest as winds ripped entire trees from the ground, nature baring its terrifying fangs once again. A falling tree knocked him unconscious, but luckily the two prospectors hadn't gone far. They dragged Givens to safety. If they had meant to harm him, they could have chosen not to save Givens, and that eased his doubts. From then on, the three traveled together, moving from winter into the bloom of spring. 2 years later, Harlan told Givens they were getting closer to home, with just over 10,000 kilometers left. To move faster, they built a makeshift raft and followed a small river downstream, but the current grew fierce, and despite their frantic paddling, disaster struck. Harlan lost his balance, fell into the river, and hit a rock. Without hesitation, Givens dove in to save him, while Dexter cared only about saving himself. In that life-or-death moment, the ugliness of human nature showed itself. Dexter abandoned them for the sake of gold, caring nothing for his companions' lives. In the end, Givens and Harlan struggled back to shore, while Dexter felt no shame at all. Fearing another betrayal, Harlan dealt with the greedy companion once and for all. The two carried on, but the shadow lingered. When Givens offered to help carry Harlan's pack, Harlan mistook the gesture as an attempt to steal his gold. He swung the pack and sent Givens tumbling off a cliff, leaving him unconscious once more. When Givens finally came to, an even greater danger was already closing in.